It wasn't a blank check. I had to do everything a regular soldier had to do. If I couldn't get the seal on the gas mask, or if I couldn't do the ruck, if I couldn't do the day-night land navigation, I wouldn't be here today, right? So that's all Sikhs are asking for. They're not asking for a blank check. They're asking for the ability, the opportunity to be able to go to boot camp. Right now, my little brother or my little son, they can't even step into the recruiter's office.
In 2009, we launched a very public campaign to seek the religious accommodation of then Captain Kelsey, now Major Kelsey, and Captain Ruthin. And based on those efforts, we had fairly significant congressional support, 43 members of Congress, 6 senators writing letters to then Secretary Gates on behalf of our efforts. We had a long and protracted dialogue with DoD and with Army representatives, and ultimately our advocacy efforts combined with media coverage of our efforts led to what was, as was described by Raj, the very extraordinary exceptions to policy. Very individualized, singular exemptions that applied only to these individuals, not to the community broadly. They were very limited in scope in terms of their immediate prospective assignments. And so as a result of that extraordinary effort, and I say extraordinary, literally dozens of members of a dozen members of the Sikh Coalition staff, 10 attorneys at McDermott, Will and Emery, $500,000 worth of pro bono legal services, and countless hours of community outreach to congressional offices and to the like. It resulted in those accommodations. So not the type of resources the average young Sikh American has back in his community, wanting to go to his local recruiting office and join the U.S. Army. So where we are today is that in 2009 we were somewhat untested. While Sikhs had served, again, through all of the major armed conflicts, we had very senior ranking officers in the U.S. Army who were practicing Sikhs. The issue in terms of new Sikh recruits was untested. We assumed that there were certain concerns, but we didn't know that those were the concerns. We sit here today, 4 years later, with proof positive that all of those concerns have been debunked.
So after I got my accommodation back in 2009, my subspecialty training, I'm an ER doc, is in disaster medicine. So I went to Israel, wonderful country. I went to Israel for my disaster training, and I saw that a number of the soldiers there wore gas masks, but they had beards. So I said, how do you guys do it? This is such a big deal in the United States. They said, well, we just put it on. I said, it can't be that easy. They're like, no, really, try it. It's that simple. So as soon as I got home, came back to the States, I bought myself a standard issue Army gas mask, and I played with it. I put it on, and true enough, when I'm wearing my little sports turban, my little bandana, I get a good seal. And so we, tested it out several times. I went to boot camp. Army didn't just take my word for it. They threw me in the gas chamber several times, and they said, yeah, you're right, you do get a good seal. That's what I've been telling you all along. And so they did the same to Captain Ruthin and to Corporal Lamba. And they said, yeah, you guys can make a seal, you can wear the helmet. We were in Helmand Province, and if you guys know anything about Helmand Province, it was one of the bloodiest zones in theater. So we were busy. We took care of thousands of casualties. And when I saw, the first day we landed, when I saw my fellow soldiers, my brothers and sisters in arms bleeding, I went to them and I took care of them. One of them, let's call him Joe. He was a Marine, badly wounded by an IED. Came in, had multiple cuts, he had blast injuries. We worked on him for a few hours. We took care of him. And Joe was one of the lucky ones. He made it. So just before we had him shipped out, he sort of grabbed my hand and he said, "Thanks, brother." And that meant a lot to me. It was my first day there, and I'll never forget that moment. But this is what we're talking about, right? If you can do the job, if you can help the mission, if you're an asset, that's what matters. And I think we've proven that, right? Between myself, Captain Rutten, Corporal Lamba, we've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are, in fact, assets.
But the bottom line, the most important reason why there's a benefit to us and there's a reason why we should be supporting military religious liberty is because it's right. More than any other class of Americans, service members risk their lives to protect our rights. And we should be willing to ensure they do not lose the rights that they protect for us. The very life and death nature of military work means that religion takes on a particular importance for service members. Religious service members need the moral resources that religion provides to help guide taking, sacrificing, and protecting human life. And they need the assurance of religion to help face the loss of their own lives and that of their compatriots. This is real stuff. The Major saw people die. He protected people from dying. They need those kinds of resources to do the incredibly difficult job that they have done, and they're being asked to do all the time.